Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Mi channel. A new powerful swordsman has officially appeared in Elbaf, Shanks' brother, who has been confirmed in the manga. However, what many forget is that it's not Luffy who faces swordsman, but Zoro. And now, Zoro might break his promise. Zoro could face a definitive defeat, and I'll explain why in today's video. I hope for your support to help our crew win, and to do so, you just need to click the thumbs up button, leave a like, and subscribe to the channel. By doing this, you will win an incredible devil fruit, so just comment which fruit you want. Guys, in this chapter, we saw something that could completely change how we understand the One Piece universe. The emergence of Figarlands Shamrock, Shanks' brother and possibly one of the most powerful Holy Knights, opens the door to countless theories about the connection between Shanks, the Celestial Dragons, and the world government. Additionally, this chapter highlights important issues involving Elbaf and the world government's interests. I'll explore all of this and try to connect the dots based on past chapters and information from the series, focusing on the impact of this revelation and how it could influence the story's future. I think it's significant that Figarlands Shamrock is introduced as the son of Saint Garling, one of the 5 elders. This immediately elevates the Figarland family to a much higher status than we had considered before. Shanks has always been a character shrouded in mystery, but the fact that he has a direct connection to one of the most powerful families in the world suggests that his influence and ties to the world government are not just about respect or strength. Perhaps he even has privileged access to the world government's information and decisions because of his lineage. In chapter 1054, for example, we thought Shanks appeared and Mary Jouais requesting an audience with the Gorosei. However, it was actually his brother. This already hinted at a special relationship he had with them, something no other pirate has demonstrated thus far. Now, with Shamrock revealed as an active member of the world government and the Holy Knights, the idea that the Figarland family has deep ties to the Celestial Dragons seems even stronger. Shanks and Shamrock may have taken completely different paths, but both seem to have inherited the same influence from their lineage. This makes me wonder, is Shanks trying to protect the world's balance because he knows the true power his family wields behind the scenes? Or is he trying to prevent the Celestial Dragons from using that power recklessly? Moreover, Shamrock's appearance without scars and with both arms intact creates an interesting visual parallel with Shanks. The contrast between the two might not only be physical, but also symbolic. Shanks, with his scar and missing arm, seems to have sacrificed part of himself on his journey as a pirate and in his quest for freedom. Shamrock, on the other hand, with his pristine appearance and military uniform, represents the opposite. A man who has fully embraced the system and the power that comes with his position. This duality between the brothers could be deeply explored in the story, potentially culminating in a direct confrontation between the two. Perhaps Oda is setting us up for a moment where Shanks has to face not just his past, but also his own family. Another thing that caught my attention is the connection between the Holy Knights and Elbaf. The chapter makes it clear that Shamrock is interested in bringing Elbaf's giants to the world government's side, something that has never been attempted before. Until now, the giants have always been portrayed as a proud and independent people with a rich history of warriors and powerful kings. But if the world government succeeds in bringing Elbaf under its command, it would completely shift the world's balance of power. I think Shamrock might be trying to use this alliance to further solidify the Celestial Dragon's influence, ensuring that no force, not even the revolutionaries or pirates, can challenge their authority. The details about Loki and his battle with Gunko are also important for understanding the context of this chapter. Loki, previously mentioned as the Prince of Elbaf, is depicted here as an imposing warrior who still cannot stand up to the power of Gunko and Shamrock. This raises the question, what exactly is Shamrock planning to do with Elbaf? Is he trying to subjugate the giants by force, or is something more happening behind the scenes? Perhaps Shamrock is using force as a way to demonstrate his power, but his ultimate goal could be to win the giants' loyalty more subtly, maybe by manipulating their culture or exploiting their weaknesses. Gunko's fight against Loki also highlights the complexity of the Holy Knight's abilities. The Arrow no Mi, which allows Gunko to create arrows that follow a predetermined trajectory, is an incredibly strategic and challenging power to counter. I think this reflects just how dangerous the Holy Knights can be, especially if all of them have unique and highly specialized powers like this. Additionally, Gunko's design, with boots and gauntlets created from arrows, is visually striking and reinforces the idea that the Holy Knights are formidable opponents not to be underestimated. Maybe Gunko could even become a rival for characters like Sanji or Frankie, depending on how the story unfolds. Another interesting point is the mention of the ancient giants, and how King Harold broke off his own horns to symbolize his pursuit of peace. This adds depth to Elbaf's history, and the values the giants uphold. It's possible that the ancient giants' past is directly connected to the world's history and the Void Century. Harold rejecting that heritage might indicate that he knew something about the true meaning of the horns and what they represent. Perhaps in some way the horns are linked to the power of the ancient giants, or a broader connection to the history of the ancient kingdom. And guys, Shamrock is introduced as Shanks' brother, but their relationship remains a mystery. Nothing confirms whether they're allies, rivals, or somewhere in between. Shanks, as one of the Yonko, is already one of the world's most influential figures. But the idea that he comes from a noble family, like the Figarlands, complicates how we perceive him. So far, Shanks has been seen as someone independent, acting outside the traditions of nobility or centralized power. The revelation that he has a brother so close to the world government might suggest that Shanks' story hides much more than we imagine, perhaps involving difficult decisions that led him to distance himself, or even break away from his family's ideals. Shamrock, on the other hand, seems to be the complete opposite of Shanks in terms of loyalty. As the leader of the Holy Knights, he serves directly under the world government and the Celestial Dragons, which raises many questions about his motivations. Perhaps Shamrock is a representation of what Shanks could have been had he followed a different path. I think this creates a very interesting dynamic of contrast, especially if the two eventually meet or confront each other. It could be that Shamrock sees Shanks as a traitor to the Figarland family values, or maybe he is following orders to capture or eliminate him due to the impact Shanks has on the world's balance. Moreover, Shamrock already demonstrates an absurd level of strength by defeating Loki, one of the most powerful warriors of Elbaf. Considering Loki is a figure feared even by the giants themselves, it's logical to think that Shamrock is on a level of strength that rivals some of the most powerful characters in the series. Perhaps he is one of the few swordsmen who could truly challenge Zoro in a significant way, as Zoro is constantly facing opponents who force him to surpass his limits. But is Shamrock the kind of enemy Zoro can defeat? That's the big question. Zoro promised Luffy that he would never be defeated again, something he takes extremely seriously since his loss to Mihawk at the beginning of the series. This vow isn't just a personal promise, but a cornerstone of his motivation and growth as a swordsman. However, Shamrock's introduction seems to set the stage to test this vow in a way Zoro has never experienced before. Shamrock is not only a skilled swordsman, but also a strategist, someone who seems used to facing high-caliber opponents. I think that if there is a confrontation between Zoro and Shamrock, Zoro might realize that his current strength is still not enough to defeat someone as complete and powerful as Shamrock. What makes Shamrock an even more dangerous adversary is the fact that he is a swordsman. So far, Zoro's greatest challenges have come from formidable swordsmen like Mihawk and King. Shamrock, being someone with direct ties to the world government, could represent a threat different from anything Zoro has faced before. Perhaps Shamrock has a fighting style Zoro has never seen, or maybe he uses abilities that combine the strength of a swordsman with other tactics or special powers. I think this combination could be devastating for Zoro, especially if he underestimates Shamrock at the beginning of their confrontation. I believe that if Zoro is actually defeated by Shamrock, it will have profound implications for the character. This defeat could serve as a reminder that Zoro still has much to learn and grow before achieving his ultimate goal of becoming the greatest swordsman in the world. Perhaps this defeat could be the catalyst for Zoro to seek a new level of strength, just as his defeat to Mihawk at the beginning of the series motivated him to become stronger. But at the same time, maybe this defeat will also shake his confidence, forcing him to confront not only a formidable opponent, but also his own insecurities and fears. On the other hand, it's possible that Zoro could defeat Shamrock, but only after an extremely difficult and exhausting battle. This would reinforce the idea that Zoro is constantly pushing his limits, but it would also show that he is getting closer and closer to his final goal. Perhaps Shamrock would recognize Zoro's strength and determination after the battle, establishing a mutual respect between them, even though they are on opposite sides. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.